Hey everyone, my name is Todd, and welcome back to another episode of SIS Film Breakdowns. This edition is going to cover UCLA tight end and New England Patriots draft pick Devin Asiasi. Patriots tight ends have been the NFL's gold standard for a number of years, but since Rob Gronkowski's retirement and move south to Tampa, the team has been looking for a restart in that position room. That influx of new talent came this past April when New England used 2 third-round picks on Asiasi and Virginia Tech product Dalton Keene. Let's try to see what Bill Belichick saw in Asiasi and how he can help the Patriots and maybe your fantasy team in 2020. Asiasi measured in at 6'3", 257 pounds, with an impressive 80-plus inch wingspan. His jumping numbers were below average at the combine, but he posted a 4.73 40-yard dash, 0.07 off the fastest time in his position group. A strong number for sure, but will later show how his size and movement skills let him play even faster than that. Asiasi began his career at Michigan, where he only logged 2 catches and this upcoming touchdown, before transferring to UCLA. Sitting out a year due to transfer rules and then making only 6 receptions the year after that didn't have him on many radars coming into 2019. But he finally worked his way into the mix in Chip Kelly's offense and racked up 44 catches for 641 yards and 4 touchdowns this year. We're going to take a look at his 2019 games against Washington State and Stanford to get a sense of his on-field skill set. First up, let's see what he does best in the passing game. A staple route tree for a tight end, and many offensive route concepts that utilize tight ends, involve 4 main routes: a dig or in route, an out route, curls and spot routes, and seam routes. As you can see here, Devin Asiasi led all tight ends in college football by a significant margin in catchable targets, receptions, and yards when running these 4 staple routes. His inline versus split out alignment ratio is 66-34, so he has experience operating from multiple areas off the snap. Let's dive into the film on these routes to see what makes him so successful. First up is the dig route. We'll watch these 2 plays from both angles and speeds to see how he maneuvers traffic into and through his route. Lined up in line, he gets a quick, smooth release off the snap and does a great job of getting to his depth behind the hook curling linebacker right at the sticks. On this rep, he speed cuts into the square in, presents a big target for the quarterback, and secures the catch for an easy completion and a first down. On the second play, he's again going to dip his shoulders and slalom around the defenders off his release and into his stem with fluid movement skills. Instead of a speed cut though, this time he really sinks his hips into his break with the safety playing tighter coverage, and gets just enough separation with the perfectly placed ball to make a nice hands catch through contact and move the chains. Next up are curls and outs. This first play is a stick concept, which gives Asiasi a choice to sit in a curl or cut away from a man defender for an out, depending on what the coverage dictates. Here lined up in the slot, the off zones dictate he sit and flash his hands. He secures the catch and does a textbook job of turning right upfield, putting his head down and falling forward for extra yardage. The second play we see the out route. Lined up in line again, look at him navigate traffic into his route. He gets his head around quickly once he cuts and finds himself open between 5 zone defenders. This is in a clutch 2-minute drill and he again kept the chains moving for his team. He's shown a great sense for space in the defenders around him. The last of the 4 is the seam route, but really for him, any verticals like posts, goes, and fades. Asiasi isn't just an underneath target. We've shown his ability to find soft spots short to intermediate, but he was sent on a bunch of deeper routes too at UCLA, against linebackers and safeties. Up first against the safety and man coverage, he gives a stutter step at the stem and a savvy little push off at the top of his route to help separate, then presents his big frame for a good hands catch and a nice gain downfield. Back to an inline position. Again, he dips his shoulder to get a clean release, attacks the safety lined up over him, and just burns him deep with a great head fake and a quick swipe of the hands to clear. You can see how fluid he is better from the end zone angle. Pressure made this throw late and short, but Asiasi's proven to be a viable target at all levels of the field. Here's a few more examples of him as a threat downfield. As we just showed, he's got the speed to compete with rolled down safeties and burn linebackers, whether he's split out to the slot or in tight. He wasn't targeted on any of these plays coming up. You can see the separation he can generate just from his speed on these routes. He's not the shiftiest route runner or most athletic pass catcher, but he's savvy, and he knows how to manipulate defenders, often playing faster than that 4.7 speed to create mismatches in the secondary. UCLA knew this and didn't restrict him to just a standard underneath route tree. Especially in these last 2 reps, he's lined up in the slot running straight verticals against secondary players and easily getting a step. That's a great weapon to have at the next level. He's got plenty of elements to offer the Patriots passing game, and there's an opportunity for playing time early in a role that's produced at a high level in the past. But before we can secure that coveted spot, we need to understand how he'll need to be used in the running game. Asiasi received a sufficient blocking grade from us in the Rookie Handbook, based on how he executed his assignments as an H tight end. He was rarely asked to secure the edge against defensive linemen in a Y role, and was more asked to chip blockers and box safeties on the backside before moving further up in the box, as you can see here. He was also asked to line up in wider inline splits and work around read option and bigger stand-up defenders completely, so he could get up to the second level freely. UCLA didn't ask much of him in the run game and knew he could handle smaller defenders, while they schemed most of their runs away from him. Even in goal line situations, the Bruins often went to a 4 tight end set, but consistently used Asiasi off the line in an offset sniffer type position so he could split zone freely out wide instead of being asked to drive block in a phone booth. This last play is an example of what he looks like when asked to be the point of attack edge setter on a run to his side. He doesn't set his feet under him and lunges into this stand-up outside linebacker. His hands get wide and he easily could have been called for a hold here. He doesn't stop working, but his technique is off and his man keeps contained. He'll need to work on that as New England finds ways to get him on the field in advantageous situations. All that being said, Asiasi was drafted into a perfect situation. Among all tight ends in college football with 50 targets in the middle portions of the field, he was second in the country in yards per target and first down percentage, and first in the country in yards per reception, while only logging 1 drop in that same area. In the Patriots' last 19 games without Rob Gronkowski, 3 due to injury in 2018 and then his retirement last year, they've had the lowest tight end receiving production in the NFL. Despite that, they've still ranked 8th and 6th as a team the past 2 years in targets between the numbers, where we just showed Asiasi has clearly thrived. By drafting him and Dalton Keene, who will be more of the blocking complement of the two, Bill Belichick is hoping to revitalize a position that's been crucial to their success for a number of years. Thanks for watching SIS Film Breakdowns. Make sure to go get the SIS Football Rookie Handbook for all the answers on how April's newcomers can factor into your fantasy teams. Register for a free trial of the SIS DataHub for all of these stats and more. And don't forget to tune into the Off the Charts Football Podcast. Until next time, I'm John Todd.